Hi everyone, and welcome to Finale Mondiali 2023. We're live from Mugello for Coppa Race 2 of, I was about to say the weekend, but of course it is only Friday, but the Finale Mondiali event goes on for very nearly a week now. And the last championship race in terms of Coppa in Europe is about to get underway. And this is where we are then, the 5.2 kilometer circuit in Tuscany, which is Mugello. As the last shot showed you there, the weather conditions up until today have been torrid. This is our calendar as completed now at the end of October here for Finale Mondiali in Mugello. All the hard work done by engineers and drivers and support teams culminates in this, the final championship race. But it's not the only racing for these ladies and gentlemen to do, because we have the world final race to come on Sunday. Please follow us on @Ferrari Races. Be part of the family. We would love you to do that. There's only one championship still to be sealed this year, and it is in Coppa Am. And we'll give you all the information about that in due course. The air temperature is 20 degrees. Unbelievably, we're seeing some sunshine at the moment. 23 degrees the track temperature. Bit of wind around though, and who knows what's going to happen with regards to the weather. I looked at the forecast just before making my way up to the studio here, and for the duration of this race, it should, fingers crossed, stay dry. But it can change very, very quickly, and so often does. So there you can see final stages of preparation for our drivers. Ready to contest the final race, and there is the Motohiko Isasaki car. Now, Motohiko Isasaki, who has had a stellar season, leads the Coppa Am Championship. The guy doing the chasing is Kirk Beyevold. Now, Motohiko Isasaki, by dint of his second fastest lap in the one qualifying session, has put the car on the front row. He goes from P2. And unfortunately for Kirk Beyevold, it's a little bit difficult for him because his qualifying session was torrid. He's going from P7 in class, but because there are so many cars, it's P23 on the grid. Because we have the mix of Shell drivers with the yellow strip across the top of the windscreen, and the Am drivers with the black strip across the top of the windscreen. And down there with no strip across the top of the windscreen is Ludovica. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. Everything is ready for race 2 of Coppa Shell, but now I want to discover more about this atmosphere, and we go to listen the expectation of our poleman for today, Ernst Kirchmeier. Good afternoon, Ernst. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
What do you expect from this race compared to the qualifying and the race 1 of yesterday?
The big ask will be about the weather conditions. Now it starts a little bit raining and nobody knows what will happen. But anyway, it's always a big pleasure to stay at pole at Mugello. And for sure, I try to do my best, and would be a pleasure to have a double win. I could win yesterday, but let's see. It will be hard work for sure.
Thank you so much. Have a good race. Back to you guys.
Information there from Ernst Kirchmeier then saying it's just beginning to start to drizzle. That put the cat amongst the right royal pigeons, that's for sure, because I would suggest that all the drivers have gone to the grid on one tyre and one tyre only. But we will see. So Ernst Kirchmeier then, who has not competed in all the rounds of the Ferrari Challenge this year. It's been a selective few, but whenever he has been racing, he has certainly shown his prowess in terms of winning races, and he would like to make it 2 out of 2 here in Finale Mondiali if he could. He's got Axel Sardigan alongside him on the front row of the grid. And I remind you that for the Shell Am drivers, it's Stefano Marazzi, and then the man that is leading the Shell Am Championship at the moment and goes from effectively P2 within class, Motohiko Isasaki. Here is Ludovica once again.
Yes, Guy, we are here with the green car of Izozaki driver. This race will be very important for him and for the standings and for the championship. So we good luck for Izozaki for this race and his result.
Thank you very much. So Motohiko Izozaki then. He is in the gun position, it has to be said, with regards to the Coppa Am Championship, the only championship left to be won in Europe. It's a big grid of cars, some 34 cars on the grid, the mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers then, as I mentioned. And Girk Beyevold, who is doing the chasing, has got to come from a long way back. So the Mugello circuit is a tricky one. It's pretty technical. You climb uphill through turns 1, 2, and 3. And you can see that through Sector 1. We're into Sector 2 now, where you're running downhill. It contains turns 6 through to 11. And then the final blast, if you like, where the exit from the final turn is critical to give you good speed onto the start-finish straight to potentially make a move there, if you can, going in towards turn number 1. Of course, Finale Mondiali is not only about Ferrari Challenge racing. The XX programs, the laboratory cars from Ferrari, which are utterly, utterly awesome. I've had the privilege to be in one of those cars around the Indianapolis circuit, and you almost feel internal body parts moving when inside those cars. Absolutely extraordinary. Alongside me then is hypercar superstar James Collado. We were hearing from Ernst Kirchmayr that there was just a bit of drizzle around. Really tricky for these drivers, who I suspect have gone to the grid on slick tyres.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, finally some dry weather and some dry feet. It's been really bad the whole week, but yeah, they're on slicks, and yeah, let's hope for a dry race. But these drizzling conditions can make it a bit tricky.
Yes, and of course, if any of the drivers go offline or onto the grass or onto the painted, they retain water, don't they? And there's been so much water over the last few days, James. That's going to be a real danger zone. You've got to keep it within the white lines. Absolutely.
Caution needed, because the grass is still probably damp, probably wet. And if you get a slick tyre offline, then yeah, it's pretty much game over. And you feel like you're going on forever when you're on wet grass. So a bit of caution needed. But we'll see. I mean, I think these guys will be looking forward to a bit of dry running. And let's see what happens.
Thank you. We'll be hearing the insight from James Collado, of course, official Ferrari driver, during the course of the race. It's Coppa Shell Racing about to get underway here in Mugello. So the Richard Mills safety car leads the cars away right now. They've gridded up side by side, the mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers. Here comes the grid in full for you. Ernst Kirchmayr Pole position, Axel Sardigan, he is the Coppa Shell champion. He's going from P2 on the grid. John Dillon, another brilliant qualifying from John. He goes from P3 with Christian Kinch, an equally good qualifying going from P4. Stefano Marazzi just bested Motohiko Isasaki with his second best lap time. They go from P5 and 6 with Kanjar Yagura and Manuel Gosner going from P7 and 8. They're ahead of Christian Herdwieper and Eric Chung. They're on the 5th row of the grid. It's P9 and P10 for those two drivers, Thomas Gosner and Murat Kuadaroglu, P11 and P12. To the 7th row of our big grid, von Skeltema, P13, Henrik Kamstrup going from P14. To the next row, we find Josef Schumacher and Martinus Richter, who was victorious in Coppa Shell Am yesterday. It's row 8. Row 9 has got Yasutaka Shirasaki and Paolo Scudieri going from P17 and 18 with Guy 4 and Alexander Nussbaumer, P19 and P20. I was having a nice cup of coffee with Guy earlier on today. Thomas Loflad and James Wyland, P21 and P22. And it's Kirk Beyevold, the man that's chasing in the Coppa Shell Am Championship. He's got to go from P23 with Masaru Yaneda going from P24. Tommy Lindroth in a different car to one yesterday. He goes from P25. Yanbin Singh, P26. Baby K and Masafumi Hiwatashi, they are P27 and P28. We've still got another 6 cars to come, and here comes Stephen Earle and Pino Frascaro. They're on the 15th row of the grid, P29 and 30 respectively, and Louis Perescoya and Ken Abe are P31 and 32, the 16th row of our packed Coppa Shell grid, which also contains Yancheng Liang and Werner Genter. They're P33 and 34. So right now then, we are on the formation lap. The car's then being led around by the Richard Mills safety car. The Richard Mills safety car will head off into the pit lane. The cars will grid up side by side in grid formation, and it will be the responsibility of Ernst Kirchmeier and Axel Sardigan to control the pace of the rolling start of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. It's the final race in Ferrari Challenge for the European 2023 Championship season. Still the world final races to come, where we pitch the best of all the regions of Ferrari Challenge together in one gold roof race. We're on board with Paolo Scudieri here, the Coppa Shell Am driver. Never bet against Paolo Scudieri. There's Christian Kinch going through, and there is the man that's leading the Coppa Shell Am Championship. I remind you that the only championship left to be won is with Coppa Shell Am, and it's Kirk Beyevold who's P2 in that Drivers' Championship, but he's a good way back from the championship leader, Motohiko Isasaki. So they're going through the final chicane right now. Then it is the final turn. So expect the cars to go side by side any moment now. And the safety car will speed up and then peel off into the pit lane at the exit of the final turn. And then all the cars will be heading towards the lighting gantry. Some 34 Ferrari Challenge 488 Evo cars on the grid. The sense of expectation and anticipation on the pit wall and in the garages is high. We are ready to go racing. We'll throw a music bed in to help build the anticipation for race 2, Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. Axel Sardigan certainly championing at the pit. John Dillon doing the same as Ernst Kirchmeier. Seems to bog down a bit at the start. Has that allowed John Dillon to put his nose in front? And Christian Kinch looking very lively as well too. But for Axel Sardigan, absolutely perfect start in terms of his progress, and Ernst seeming to bog down right at the start of the race. So as the cars make their way up the towards turn number 2 now, Christian Kinch also doing very, very well. Bear in mind, Motohiko Isasaki is leading the Coppa Shell Am Championship, and he's involved in that mix with the 107 car of Stefano Marazzi. And Motohiko Isasaki initially getting ahead of Stefano Marazzi, and I think that remains the case. Although you can see Stefano Marazzi in the all-yellow car there trying to get on terms. So it's Sardigan from Dillon from Kirchmeier. That's the way it looks at the moment. And a couple of drivers really dropping down the order, I can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen. I thought all cars had made it through relatively comfortably and cleanly. There is Axel Sardigan being chased down now. beg your pardon, that was Christian Kinch being chased down by the returning Murat Kuhadaroglu, who tries to dive to the inside of Christian Kinch. And that sends Christian out into the gravel. If that car bogs down in the gravel, which it does, that is going to inevitably be a safety car. In my opinion, that looked like it was a pretty bold move there from Murat Kuhadaroglu. Yellow flag at turn 10. I'm pretty sure that's going to turn into a safety car very quickly. Ernst Kirchmayr chasing down John Dillon, who sits in P2 at the moment. Sure enough, safety car is called for. James Collado has often sat in race control. Not only is he a top racing driver, but acts as a driver ambassador sometimes in race control, to see it from the race control eyes and offer his driver's perspective. From Murat's point of view, was that on or not on, James, do you think?
If I'm honest, I'll be expecting a penalty.
Okay.
I think that was a bit do or die, and you know, especially on the first lap, that looked like to me it was a bit of a T-bone off the track. But let's see. You know, we see these things. It's not easy. You could have cold brakes, cold tires, things like that. So he obviously wouldn't have done it intentionally, but you know, there was contact there, and you know, that's put the other car out of the race.
Yeah, that has. It's ruined Christian's race. The incident involving those two cars is under investigation, and I have to say that was in turn 10. And race control here, they rule with a rod of iron, and they will look at it, and we, James and I, see it from one camera angle, but in race control they have so many different camera angles that they can look at and see. So we will see what comes out of that. Let's get a replay of the start then and just see. I don't know whether Ernst really did bog down or whether Axel just went for it, because Axel was certainly ahead of Ernst Kirchmayr as they got to the line there. And there you can see the 34 cars all heading in towards turn number 1. And John Dillon was just able to take advantage of this seemingly slow away Ernst Kirchmayr and put himself into that P2 position. Christian Kinch had a good start as well, put himself alongside. And this was the move then. Don't know. Seeing it again, perhaps I'm less sure, if I'm honest. But that's why I'm jolly glad that I can talk about things rather than have to make decisions in race control. But they were looking at that. We know that that is under investigation. For the Moto Eco Isasaki Championship leading challenge, forgive the pun, he did everything right because he put himself ahead of Stefano Marazzi, so he's in a very strong position now. Kirk Beervold, the driver that's got to make up places and try and get on terms with him, but a lot can happen, and the safety car having come out so early on in the race, and Kirk Beervold remains in that P7 position where he qualified within class, but that's some P22 is where he is on the overall classification at the moment, so he's got a lot of cars to get by before he can get on terms with the championship leader. So safety car out for the recovery of the Christian Kinch car. And the top 3 in each of the classes: Axel Sardigan, John Dillon, Ernst Kirchmayr for the Shell drivers. For the AM drivers, it is Moto Eco Isasaki, Stefano Marazzi, and Joseph Schumacher. Now, I'm not surprised here that the start is under investigation because they didn't appear to be together as they crossed the line, but we will see. Daniele Diamato is driver coach to Axel Sardigan. He's with Ludovica.
Thank you, guys. I want to discover with Daniele more about the perfect start of Axel.
Yeah, it was really good. He started immediately at the proper time, and he achieved immediately P1. So now there is safety car. We wait, and hopefully gonna be started really good after the safety car, so cross finger.
Thank you.
Daniele Diamato, former Ferrari Challenge champion himself, there taking time to talk to us. He, of course, coaching Axel Sardigan. We're on board with Paolo Scudieri. And there you can see Paolo during this safety car phase, which I assume, James, they, not even having completed a lap, they probably haven't even brought the tyres up to temperature yet.
No, everything will still be a bit cold. They'll still be a bit rusty, of course, as they've not had pretty much any dry running. But yeah, everything needs to, they need to keep the brakes warm. They need, especially the fronts, they need to keep them up to temperature. And I think the restart's pretty important. So let's see. They're probably going to get to grips with it. It's unfortunate to see that accident, but fingers crossed now we can see all the cars stay on track.
Yeah, let's hope so. Axel Sardigan leading from John Dillon and Ernst Kirchmayr. And then for the AM drivers, it is Motohiko Isozaki, who, I have to be honest, in the championship chase, the way it is at the moment, it's all for Motohiko Isozaki to lose, really. And to be fair, I think it would almost have to be a DNF for him before Kirk Beervold would be able to perhaps take that championship, and even perhaps that wouldn't be enough. Safety car is coming in this lap. So well done to the recovery team here at Mugello then, who've rescued that car very, very quickly and getting us back to racing as quickly as possible. Still there'll be 22 minutes on the clock, I would think, by the time we get round to the lighting gantry, but nonetheless, we can go back to racing now. Of course, all the cars do bunch up once again behind the safety car, so we just hope for good things when it comes to the restart. Axel Sardigan has done a few of these in his time, and he will try and get away from John Dillon and the chasing Ernst Kirchmayr as well. For Stefano Marazzi, of course, this is another opportunity for him perhaps to wrestle away that P1 position from Motohiko Isozaki and the Shell AM drivers. We will see. Every driver will be champing at the bit, ready to get going once again, and with not even one lap completed before the safety car was called out because of that incident between Murat Kuhardaroglu and Christian Kinch. So Christian's race is over, regrettably. We saw the car being recovered and taken away, and safety car is up the road right now, and so it's all about when Axel Sardigan is going to give it everything on the accelerator pedal and get those 488 Challenge Evos back racing once again. So very, very slow, heading up towards the final turn right now. And once he accelerates, he has to stay accelerated. You can't put your foot down and then take it off again, and you've really got to go for it when you've made that decision to go for it. And that's exactly what Axel Sardigan does now. And around the final turn, in fact, he hasn't given it everything yet. So leaving it very, very late. Of course, it is his right to do what he wants to do. And now he does go for it. So with the safety car in, let's go back to racing. Axel Sardigan, John Dillon and Ernst Kirchmayr, the top three. And Axel did that pretty well, built up a bit of a gap between himself and John Dillon as they head in towards turn number one. Murat Kuhardaroglu is going to pick up a drive-through penalty. I can tell you, we've just got that information on our screen. So Murat Kuhardaroglu will get a drive-through penalty for the collision with Christian Kinch, which caused the safety car. Ernst Kirchmayr has gone through to P2. There's confirmation of that drive-through penalty to come. And there's Motohiko Isozaki, who is chasing down some of the Shell drivers ahead of him. He wants to put as much of a gap as he can between himself and any other pursuer in Shell AM, but it's pretty much a slam dunk for Motohiko Isozaki to seal this Shell AM championship in this race. So Sardigan, Kirchmayr, Dillon, then it is Kuhardaroglu, which is academic because he's got a drive-through penalty to come, so it'll be Kanjar Yugura. Wow, Axel Sardigan, who is leading the race, gets a drive-through penalty for a jump start. I have to say, James, when I looked at the start, it was either a problem for Ernst or, Axel was really going for it, and you're supposed to stay together across the line, and they weren't.
Yeah, originally I thought Ernst had kind of, missed the ball and, not got on the throttle, but it seems that it was the other way. He was managing the pace. You've always got the pole sitter is always the one that has to manage the pace, yep. And yeah, there we go. Quite a surprise.
Well, there we have it then. So the race leader is on track leading, but he's got to take a drive-through penalty. That means it will become Ernst Kirchmayr, John Dillon, and then it will be Kanjar Yugura, because Murat Kuhardaroglu has also got to take a penalty, and at the moment he's attacking John Dillon. So two cars with a drive-through penalty. One of those is our race leader, Axel Sardigan, who chooses not to come in right now. He has 3 laps within which to serve that drive-through penalty, and Murat Kuhardaroglu doesn't serve the drive-through penalty either. James, in your experience as a top racing driver, Can a team appeal that on the radio within the 3 laps? I mean, it's surely futile, but...
You know, I don't think I've ever seen it happen. I think once the race controller made the decision's final. They can argue it after the race, but you know, it's always judge of fact, and they've got all the cameras, they've got all the information, they've got everything they need to be sure about that decision. So yeah, no doubt he jumped the start. I'm sure he's got something to say after the race about it, but you know, all drivers, you know, you don't want to think it's your fault, but you know, sometimes you just make mistakes, and it happens.
Thank you, James. James Collado with us then for the duration of the race. And Motohiko Isasaki, as you can see, this is the live championship situation. He would finish this race, if everything stayed this way, some 19 points ahead of Kirk Beyevold and Henrik Hamstrup. So Motohiko Isasaki, all he's got to do is really bring the car home. And he has even not yielded, but Stefano Marazzi has got by him. And actually, there was no point him doing too much chasing there and fighting, because he needs to finish the race, and he certainly doesn't want to end up out of the race, because then that could be critical, dependent upon where Kirk Beyevold finished. So Stefano Marazzi leading the Shell Am race. For the Shell drivers, it is Axel Sardigan on track, but that's nominal because he's got to take a drive-through penalty. It'll be Ernst Kirchmayr leading. Now, Christian Herdvipper is attacking Manuel Agostner here, and this is for P6 in Coppa Shell, with just under 18 minutes of the race remaining. And Murat Kuhaduroglu, I don't think they've told him yet he's got a drive-through penalty, because he's really attacking John Dillon, which is somewhat futile, because he's got to come in and serve a drive-through penalty. Is he going to do it on this occasion? Be a late move if he does, and he doesn't. So therefore, John Dillon probably might have done the wise thing and just let him go by there, and rather than fight him too much. Presumably the Great Paul Nottingham team will have told John that the driver that's attacking you has got a drive-through penalty. As Christian Herdvipper and Manuel Agostner continue their fight around turn 1 right now, with Manuel Agostner inside line. Now, if Christian Herdvipper can keep it clean and tidy into this, he'll have the inside line, and sure enough, Christian Herdvipper is able to go through and pick up the P6 place from Manuel Agostner. That was all set up really from the start-finish straight, where he just positioned the car perfectly into turn number 1, and clearly had confidence in the car underneath him. So Ernst Kirchmayr, you can see, is not really attacking Axel Sardigan, because for sure Baron will have told him that he's got a drive-through penalty, and therefore there's no point attacking too much. The safety car restart is under investigation now as well. So fastest lap has come from Ernst Kirchmayr, no surprise, and 1:55.404. I think in terms of racing, it's the first time so far we've seen a time into the 1:55s. Everything's been over 2 minutes because it's all been wet weather running. Right, here is Thomas Gostner. Thomas Gostner driving the familiar colours of Corinna Gostner, his daughter, is attacking Motohiko Isasaki. Now, Thomas Gostner is in a different category. He's a Shell driver rather than a Shell Am driver. So, again, Motohiko Isasaki will probably think of the long game here and not get involved in too much defending from Thomas Gostner, because it's completely academic, as it will make no difference to the scoring for his particular category. And Christian Herdvipper has certainly got the pace here as he tries to put himself on the inside of Kanjar Yagura, and through he goes, and then in comes Murat Kuhaduroglu to serve his drive-through penalty. I think that was the very latest, and Axel Sardigan has come in as well. So the order now is Ernst Kirchmayr, John Dillon and Christian Herdvipper. For the Am drivers, it remains Stefano Marazzi, Motohiko Isasaki, and running in P3 is Josef Schumacher, ahead of Martinus Richter, who's moved up quite some places. Josef Schumacher, who's been on the podium this year, and Axel Sardigan returns then, having served his drive-through penalty. And the same will apply, of course, to Murat Kuhaduroglu, but they'll be much further down the order than they would like to be. So Christian Herdvipper, a danger man here. And John Dillon there running in P2. Next in Christian Herdvipper's target sights is going to be that red, green and white car, that's for sure. And the pace that he's shown so far, I don't think it's going to be many laps before he is right on the back of John Dillon. So here we can see more fights going on here. And that is Martinus Richter, who's been looking very, very lively as well. There's Paolo Scudieri, who we were on board with just a while ago. And now Ernst Kirchmayr has got the opportunity to really stretch his legs. And he's done that, 5.3 seconds. As we have a drive-through penalty also being issued to car number 168 for overtaking under the safety car, which is an absolute no-no. So that is for the 168 car, overtaking then behind the safety car. Now, unless my eyes are deceiving me, that's Yanbin Zing who is suffering that drive-through penalty. So 3 drive-throughs already in this race. We're just under halfway, and well, Christian Herdvipper got there a bit more quickly than I expected in terms of his fight with John Dillon, but he's really having to, the car was sliding around there in turn number 1, so the final turn, I should say. So perhaps on the entry to that turn, James, he just carried too much speed, and he ended up having to use opposite lock to control the sliding car. Yeah,
just lost it a little bit. You know, still could be a little bit of damp on the track. You just don't know, but it just looks like he went in hard there, and yeah, lost it a little bit. But it's good racing. You know, the guys are starting to get up to speed. They're starting to get used to slicks. You know, finding their line, finding their way, and you know, the lap times are falling. And the other thing I've noticed is there's a lot of track limits coming up. So I expect to see maybe a few penalties.
Actually, one of those has been track limits wise is Ernst Kirchmayr, who's leading the race at the moment. We'll keep our eyes on that. Thanks, James, for pointing that out. So right, it is Kirchmayr from Dillon and Christian Herdvipper, the 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Now Stefano Marazzi is leading in Coppa Am. Let's find out what his coach has got to say about it with Ludovica right now.
Yes, we are here with Samuele Buttarelli for Discover More about his race.
Yes, Stefano had a very difficult start now because some cars overtake our car. But after the safety car, Stefano made a very good start and overtake our rival, Isozaki. So now we are leading the race, and the pace is really good. Now Stefano made the fastest lap of his category. So I hope we finish the race in this position.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So not only the drive-through penalty that Axel Sardigan has suffered, he's now getting a time penalty of 5 seconds for track limits as well. Never rains in pause, you know. 1:05 then. Motohiko Isozaki is P2 at the moment, but he's doing enough for the championship, that's for sure. And James, you're pointing out there that actually Axel Sardigan was, oh no, that's John Dillon and Christian Herdvipper. So that is a real, and there's a lot of fluid on the track there now. That's on the exit of the final turn. So, see that again because I wasn't ready for it. But that has changed the order somewhat, that's for sure. And ironically, it's exactly the same turn where Christian was not able to make the overtake last time with John Dillon. John is one of those drivers, James, who, I'll tell you what, and it's easy for me to call it from up here with a microphone, isn't it? But there are some drivers that have good luck, and there are some drivers that have no luck, and John is one of those, I feel.
Yeah, you know, but I was always taught you make your own luck.
Okay.
I've always been taught that. I mean, you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You can think that, it's happening all the time, but it's you've got to remember that sometimes you do get good luck. You just don't think about it. But yeah, that was unfortunate. I need to see it again, really, to judge any of the drivers. But let's see. It's just unfortunate, really, that they're at the race because they were both doing a great job. Yeah, they were. Yes, they were. You're absolutely right. I'm sure we will see another replay of that. So as it stands now, as the safety car is brought out once again with 10 1/4 minutes remaining, it's Ernst Kirchmayr from Kanja Yagura, and Manuela Gosner is up to P3. For the AM drivers, it's Stefano Marazzi, Motohiko Isozaki, and Martinus Richter, who has managed to get by Josef Schumacher. So they are the top 3 in Shell AM drivers. So safety car is called for. Couple of cars to be recovered, unfortunately, from that incident between Christian Herdvipper and John Dillon, which was around the final turn here at Mugello. And from what I saw in the first replay, it looked like Christian was just understeered a little bit into John, and then there was a bigger contact, which was just as a result of that John Dillon car starting to spin at that point after the initial contact from Christian Herdvipper. But I'm only saying what I can see. And there is the 168 car, which, as I mentioned, is the Yanbin Zing. Got to go. Another one of the drivers that was penalised earlier on. Giorgio Sonagiotto is driver coach to Manuela Gosner. He's with Ludovica now.
Yes, Giorgio, how is going Manuela's race? How is going?
The race till now it's very good because we start from P7, now she's P3. It's a very tough race. The feeling of the Finale Mondiali is still here, and everybody are pushing maybe too much. 3 crashes, 2 drive-through. Everybody are very pushing a lot, but we are fighting for the second position in the championship, and we are in the right spot to gain it.
And you and your team and with Manuela made a very good job compared to yesterday for trying to look a new, better setup for today.
For sure, the dry condition is better for Manuela, for sure. And we hope also for Sunday will be dry, and we will see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Giorgio Sonagiotto, who's a pretty fair racing driver himself, it has to be said. He is coach to the Gosner family, and of course he'll be delighted that Manuela is P3, and let's not lose sight of the fact that the very pink car right behind Manuela there is P4, and that's father Thomas Gosner. So doing all right with the Gosners at the moment, P3 and P4. There's Fabian Volvend. Fabian, another former Ferrari Challenge driver who is coaching Tommy Lindroth. And Tommy Lindroth driving a different car. He's running P10 in the points then for Baron Motorsport. And the incident involving cars number 151 and 183 in turn number 15 is going to be investigated after the race. So doubtless both Christian Verdvipper and John Dillon will have their views, and it is going to be investigated after the race. But unfortunately, it has meant that we've got a safety car out again, and Paolo Scudieri, he is one of those drivers who's having to prepare himself to get back going again. It's going to be what I would term a dash for cash when the safety car does come back in again, because there's only going to be a few minutes of racing left. And what have we got sort of lap times at the moment where we can get the 155s or so, but we're not going to get very many laps of racing, I would think, before the checkered flag comes out, dependent on how the recovery operation is going. So there, once again, the Paolo Scudieri car. There's von Skeltermar. Where's Fons currently in terms of he's running in P6, beg your pardon. Fons Skeltermar, as I look down the list, is actually running P8. He has James Weiland ahead of him. James Weiland, who's raced in Ferrari Challenge in Asia, also in North America, and of course here in Europe as well. Fair play to them. I think the team have done a good job in clearing those cars away. Little bit of fluid across the exit of that turn, exactly where you can see the marshals there in the familiar orange overalls. Big shout out to the marshals, who without them we wouldn't be able to go racing. We rely on them, and they do a great job for us. So with those cars taken away now, I would think that we'll get this lap behind the safety car, then we can go back to racing again, but it is only conjecture on my part. Kirkmeyer, Yagura, Gosner, top 3 Shell drivers. Top 3 AM drivers, Marazzi, Isasaki, Richter. Championship goes to Motohiko Isasaki if everything stays this way right now. What has Kirk Beervold been able to do in terms of overtaking cars? P7 in class, not enough. Not enough by any means. So we've lost John Dillon, Christian Herdvipper, Axel Suttigan, and Christian Kinch. No word yet as to the safety car coming in at the end of this lap. There was a bit of fluid on the exit of that turn, and whether they want to put some absorbent material down before we do go back to racing again, maybe, but still time for the safety car lights to go off before we get kind of halfway around this lap, and that would indicate that the safety car would come in at the end of this lap. We'll see. That's Kirkmeyer then. 2 out of 2 was his target and his aim going into this race, and well, he's in a good position to be able to achieve that. And Kanjar Yagura will be very happy with the P2, and Manuela Gosner a P3. There's Ines Rule, then team boss of Baron Motorsport, team manager of Baron Motorsport. Ultimate boss, of course, is Philip Barron, former multi-Ferrari Challenge champion, and before that, single-seater racer as well. And now turns his attention to being something of a headmaster in the team, and a very successful team it is as well. So Kanjar Yagura. Now I think Manuela Gosner is going to in that P3 position, and sure enough, safety car is going to come in at the conclusion of this lap. So lights are out on the safety car. We will go back to racing again. Manuela Gosner for sure is going to be attacking Kanjar Yagura and potentially Ernst Kirchmeier as well, who'd build up a good margin, but of course all that counts as nothing now as we go back to racing again. And it is going to be, as I say, a very short resumption of racing, because when the cars reach the timing line, there's not going to be much time left on the clock. Slippery surface, the drivers being warned around turn number 15. And they're at turn 13 right now with the chicane turn 14 and then 15. So Kirchmeier, Yagura, Gosner, Marazzi, Isazaki and Richter. And there you can see Ernst Kirchmeier just weaving the car quite gently from side to side. It's his decision when he's going to go for it. And the rest of the drivers try and anticipate when Ernst Kirchmeier decides to accelerate away. You can see driver coaches talking to their drivers on the team radios. Ernst Kirchmeier has pretty much nailed that and has built a gap already before they've even got to the line. Massimo Pepe there you could see, and this is Stefano Guy as the rest of the cars come through that final turn now. We head to the lighting gantry and we can go back to racing. It was a pretty perfect restart, I would suggest. James Collado from Ernst Kirchmeier there. He sorted that nicely.
Hey, he was out the frame then when he left. It was an incredible restart, and what a gap he's made, and that's perfect with only just 2.5 minutes to go. So, yeah, great restart.
So we're going to get, in my opinion, 2 laps of racing then before the checkered flag is unfurled. Now, Martinus Richter, who was running in P3, has come into the pit lane. I can see from the screen, and you can see from the graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, that he is coming to the pit lane, which he was in a podium place. So now Josef Schumacher retakes that P3 place that he had. And now Manuela Gosner lights up the wick as the rain really comes down now. Oh my goodness me, with 2 minutes remaining, we think, James Collado, that everyone is out there. We know everyone is out there on slick tyres.
Yeah. This is tough. This is tough because firstly the tyres were already cold behind the safety car.
Oh.
And now they've got all this water. So yeah, that you can see, look at the difference it makes when you're on slicks. It's like driving on ice when there's water. So it's really tough. And with only 1.5, obviously we've got one off already, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's Dr. Stephen Earle, I think, in the number 100 car. Also in is the Martinus Richter car, as I mentioned. So
safety car.
Yeah, it's got to be. Kanjar Yagura, I think, had got past Ernst Kirchmeier before the safety car was called for. No, he's gone back. So Ernst Kirchmeier obviously still remains in the lead of this race with the safety car, and the race is going to finish behind the safety car now. There's no question about that, because we've only got 1.25 minutes remaining, and that was probably quite a wise decision, James, from race control, because, as you say, the driver's not only on slick tyres, but those slick tyres were cold from the safety car as well.
Yeah, and we had a driver off track as well. So all those combined, I think it's the right decision from race control, because you don't want to see any big accidents, especially before the big race on Sunday. So yeah, correct decision for me. It's tricky though, because it seems that only half the track is raining and the other half, look, it's sunny there.
Yes,
so
it's amazing, isn't it?
It's so tricky. And it's always difficult, but yeah, it's going to finish under safety car, and there's our results already.
James, as always, thank you so much for being with us. I know you've got to go rush off and do other media duties now. Well, that's what you told me. It might be lunch, actually, for all I know. But thanks once again for spending time with us, and thanks for your insight, as always. Top hypercar driver, James Collado, thank you. Thank you. So he heads off right now as we bring the race to a conclusion, because it is going to finish under the safety car, and it is going to be Ernst Kirchmeier that starts the final lap behind the safety car ahead of Kanjar Yagura and Manuela Gosner, and that's the way it is going to remain and finishes the rain, as you can see here on the start-finish straight. That means that Motohiko Isazaki is confirmed as a Coppa Shell Am champion. It was always going to be a tall order for Kirk Beerwold to be able to take the chase to him, but well done to Motohiko Isazaki, who will be on the podium, P2. He'll be happy with that, and he will be very happy indeed to take the championship as well. Final lap then behind the safety car as we zoom in on the Motohiko Isazaki car then for taking that Shell Am championship. Been an intense battle between himself and Kirk Beerwold pretty much all season long, to be honest with you. So there we have it. With a car off the track, the weather conditions changing once again, then race control deciding to bring the safety car out, and as James indicated, absolutely the right thing to do in very, very difficult conditions indeed. So race finishing under the safety car with no overtaking. It's going to be Ernst Kirchmayr, Kanjar Yagura and Manuel Agostner on the podium for Shell drivers. For the AM drivers, it will be Stefano Marazzi, Motohiko Sasaki and Josef Schumacher. Brilliant result for Josef Schumacher. Now, I said boldly earlier, it'll be not only his second podium, it'll be his third podium actually, because of course he's taken a race win and a P3 and now a P2 as well in his season. So well done, Josef. So cars then behind the safety car, the Richard Mills safety car leading the cars away, and will allow them to take the checkered flag. And that will be it. Our final race in our 2023 championship is done. Still the world final races to come on Sunday, and we'll be qualifying for those races tomorrow. So still lots of race activity to come from Finale Mondiali, that's for sure. And don't miss a bit of it, because it's awesome stuff. And Ernst Kirchmayr then, but a relatively calm race for him. When he's had the opportunity, he's built a huge gap, and of course that gap has been nullified when the safety car has been out, and on this occasion the safety car and the gap being reduced actually makes no difference, because the race is going to finish behind the safety car. All our 4A Challenge Evo cars then heading towards the lighting gantry and the checkered flag, which will be unfurled for Ernst Kirchmayr to take the win in Coppa Shell, for Stefano Marazzi to take the win for Shell AM, and of course for Motohiko Isozaki taking P2, it will be the championship for him. And James is absolutely right. There are certain parts of the track where there seems to be no rain whatsoever. Absolutely extraordinary stuff. So cars around the final turn right now, and heading towards that gantry. This is the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell, and safety car is peeled off to allow the drivers to take the checkered flag, and Ernst Kirchmayr then for Baron Motorsport takes P1. He wanted to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend in terms of the race. He's done that, and well done to Stefano Marazzi taking the win for Shell AM, ahead of Motohiko Isozaki and Josef Schumacher, and Kanjar Yagura and Manuel Agostner P2 and P3 for the Shell drivers. And there is our new Coppa Shell AM champion, Motohiko Isozaki. Absolutely thrilled 2023 champion. Cornes Motors Shiba, he is the Coppa Shell AM champion in Europe. What a great job he has done. So there's Thomas Loflad, and there is Motohiko Isozaki. You can see that he is absolutely thrilled. Ernst Kirchmayr, the winner though of the race. And of course we'll be seeing on the podium Ernst Kirchmayr, Kanjar Yagura and Manuel Agostner, and Stefano Marazzi, Motohiko Isozaki and Josef Schumacher. And there is Stefano Marazzi then. Be pleased with that, and rightly so. And as I mentioned, Ernst Kirchmayr wanted to make it 2 out of 2. He has achieved his ambition at AIM. Best finish for Kanjar Yagura across the 2 races as well. Finished P9 yesterday, if memory serves me correctly. And Manuel Agostner coping with the conditions perfectly to be able to take a P3. So back to a podium place for Manuel Agostner. And there you can see the delight from there's Carlo, the team from Motohiko Isozaki. Thomas Agostner finishing P4. Well done, Thomas. Keeping it in the Agostner family for P3 and P4. Eric Chung finishing in P5, and Ernst Kirchmayr being congratulated by the headmaster Philip Baron there. I'm listening to what they're saying, but struggling to hear that. France is a loyal engineer. There you go. That's how happy he is. And Axel Jeffries, driver coach. Russell's a pretty good driver as well, to be fair. So Ernst Kirchmayr delighted to have done that. And Manuel goes pretty happy as well. Giorgio Sanaggiotto, then, who we heard from during the course of the race, he's one of the first to go and congratulate Massimo Pepe, who is team boss of MP Racing. And they're all getting in there for a photograph, and here is Motohiko Isozaki. He's not out of the car yet. So listening to Carlo there, talking to him, and Motohiko is undoing the belts right now, and we'll see him out of the car in just a moment, I feel sure. And now he is out of the car. Let's hear from Motohiko Isozaki. He's with Ludovica right now.
Yes, Motohiko. Yes, he jumped on his car in this moment. It's a beautiful image with all his team. He's very happy, Motohiko. And I want to ask you something about this very special moment here at Mugello circuit. We can see even Carlo Dell'Orto, Eliseo Donno, the champion of Trofeo Pirelli. Is so beautiful. We can move on. Motohiko, congratulations, you are a champion. Yeah. Are you happy?
Yeah, it's my life first time. But really first time. But really, I want to say thank you very much, engineer. Thank you very much, team. Thank you, everybody, Ferrari. Thank you, really thank you.
Congratulations, enjoy your win.
Thank you.
It was kind of a question that didn't need asking, really. Are you happy? Oh, yeah. Well done, Motohiko Isozaki. He is the champion. Let's have a look at the pit show now as we all calm down.
Ernst, congratulations to win in a row here at Mugello circuit. How do you feel?
Many thanks. It's unbelievable. A double win in Mugello. It's such a difficult racetrack, and the conditions are changing so much. And I'm so happy I'm the double winner here, so it's really great. I'm very, very happy about it.
Thank you so much.
Well done to Ernst Kirchmayr. His target was to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend, and he has achieved that. And, well, the celebration's continuing for our Coppa Shell Am champion, Motohiko Isozaki, who has yet to remove his hands device and crash helmet, because all the celebrations and the congratulations are going on as we speak. So well done to Motohiko Isozaki. All the emotions of the championship charge, and there you can see the classification on screen, confirmation of that. Be heading up to the podium shortly, where we will be seeing Ernst Kirchmayr, Kanjar Yagura and Manuel Gosner on the steps 1, 2 and 3 for Shell drivers. For the Am drivers, it will be Stefano Marazzi, then it will be Motohiko Isozaki and Josef Schumacher. That's the way the podiums will look, and we're going to take a look at the highlights right now. Here then, the race statistics powered by AWS. And as you can see, Ernst Kirchmayr, fastest lap for Coppa, Martin de Richter, fastest lap for Coppa AM drivers. There was some 56 total overtakes in Coppa and 28 in Coppa AM. All those race statistics brought to you, powered by AWS. And podiums to come then, which we're very much looking forward to. It was a pretty dramatic race, and it is the podium that we will be going to next. So, there you can see the cars in the Parfum area. We can already hear the voice of Michele Mambelli, who'll be bringing the drivers out onto the podium, and lots of people down there to applaud those drivers. And Manuela Gosner is the first to show for P3 in Coppa. For P2, it's going to be Kanjai Yagura, who takes to the second step of the podium. And on the top step of the podium, here he comes then, making it 2 out of 2. It is Ernst Kirchmayr.
Sul podio, team manager con Baron Motorsport, Ines Ruhl.
Ines Ruhl is back again, the team manager for Baron Motorsport. They're represented on the podium as the national anthem will play out right now for Ernst Kirchmayr.
Il nostro applauso per questo podio, bellissimo podio di vincitori con il trofeo d'onore che sono presentati da Alessandro Pierguidi, pilota ufficiale
is on trofeo presentation duties, our Ferrari official GT driver, and he makes the first trophy presentation to Manuela Gosner.
Pilota sul podio.
Up next, of course, it will be Kanjai Yagura. Then on the top step of the podium, it will be
Alessandro Pierguidi che consegna il trofeo d'onore al vincitore, a Ernst Kirchmayr, e il trofeo d'onore per il team che vince questa gara, per il team
Baron Motorsport, Ines Ruhl. And all the drivers will get together for the photographs to be taken.
Photo, please, together, all with Ines too on the first step of this podium, okay, with your trophy. Okay, okay, perfect.
That is perfect. Well done. Who's going to win the champagne race?
Wait only 5 seconds.
Well, we're not going to know because we're going to look at the top 3 of the cars then that took their drivers to those podium places. CDP MP Racing, Manuela Gosner, P3. Corner Sasaka, Kanjai Yagura taking P2. And for Go Baron Motorsport, Ernst Kirchmayr, P1. So in the Drivers' Championship points, this is how it finishes overall at the end of all the racing for 2023 in terms of the championship. Axel Sardigan, P1, we already knew that. Manuela Gosner sealed that P2 in the championship. But Ernst Kirchmayr, by dint of his success this weekend, finishes P3 in the Drivers' Championship. Well done, Ernst. Rest of the order that you can see. Well done to all the drivers that have given us some fantastic racing over the course of what has been an epic season in Ferrari Challenge, that's for sure. Still to come, we do have our Coppa AM podium, as you can see. That's all been set up with the backdrop of More of the activities going on here as the XX cars take to the track. Provide something of a noisy backdrop to the podium on this occasion. Perhaps letting them get out of the pit lane before we continue with it. Just allowing those to. There's Josef Schumacher then taking P3. Here's Motohiko Isozaki. He is the new champion, taking P2 in the race. And taking the win, Stefano Moratti climbs to the top step of the podium. Andrea there from Rosso Corse. He is the team representative. And trophies to be presented once again by Alessandro Pierguidi, the Ferrari official GT driver. National anthem first. Anthem plays out then, and congratulations to Stefano Moratti. As I mentioned then, Alessandro Pierguidi making the trophy presentations. First of all, to P3 driver Josef Schumacher. P2 driver and our Coppa Am champion, Motohiko Isozaki. And then on the top step of the podium, it is Stefano Moratti.
Trofeo Rosso Corsa per Andrea Zadra.
So everyone together on the top step of the podium then, there's just room. And photographs taken.
Okay.
Who will win the champagne race? We're going to see. Are we going to see? I think it was Motohiko, to be fair, and I'm not surprised by that. He's pretty happy. Motohiko Isozaki then with that P2 wins the Drivers' Championship for Coppa Am, and well done to Stefano Moratti, P1. And here we can see the Rosso Corse driver Stefano Moratti then on his way to taking that win here in Mugello, the finale Mondiale weekend. Great stuff. P2 was enough for Motohiko Isozaki for the Cornes Motorshiba team to become 2023 champion. Driven hard all year long. Final championship points then, 126, which means that Motohiko Isozaki ended up finishing clear 19 points ahead of Kirk Beervold and Henrik Kamstrup, P3. Martinus Richter, who's not attended every event this year, climbs up to P4 in the Drivers' Championship. So that's how the Drivers' Championship finishes for Coppa Am drivers here for our season of 2023. Been an awful lot of drivers that have contested the 2023 season and given us some fantastic racing, and we're grateful to each and every one of them. So that's it from the 2023 season, but bear in mind the World Final race is still to come. From myself and from everyone that's been part of the production team, my thanks to them, and thanks to you especially for watching, and make sure you join us for qualifying tomorrow for the World Final races. Bye-bye for now.